This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, everybody, this is Dr. Doug Smith. Charles is with us today, and we're actually going to redo yesterday's podcast because we're in the middle of a storm, and we just got a lousy recording. And so we're redoing it today, and guess what happened? The storm just came up. But anyway, um, this is the Monday through Thursday podcast, 2:30. This is where you will hear the science about what actually happened in the opioid crisis. Uh, and what we're doing right now is we're going through the second citizens petition page by page, and specifically right now we're going through the 11 requests that we had of the FDA. And I don't care if you call them requests or demands. I really think they're more demands. And we've gone through the first 10, and now we're down to number 11. And number 11, we're going to spend some time on this one. This one uh, is worth spending some time on. All of them are, but this one gets under my skin. This one irritates me, and this one has to do with the term opioid addiction, or the more modern term opioid use disorder. Um, and the reality is they're just a fairy tale. It's a charade. It's a make believe. It's dress up. Okay, because there is no science behind it, and the science that they're putting forth, it just fades under the light of day. Okay, it's not real science. Okay, and this is what Dr. Karl Popper said about the psychiatrist. And Dr. Karl Popper is a voice worth listening to because Dr. Karl Popper is the father of modern science. We do a type of science today called Popperian science, and it's named after, guess who? Dr. Karl Popper. The type of science we do worldwide, really, is Popperian science, named after Dr. Karl Popper. And what's interesting is a lot of things interesting about it, but Dr. Popper was actually a contemporary of Sigmund Freud, and he was also a contemporary of Einstein. And he wrote extensively comparing Freud to Einstein, and basically said, "Hey, psychiatry is pretty cool stuff, but it's not science. So don't pretend it is science because it's not science." And that's exactly what is at the heart of this opioid crisis. Is people used psychiatry as if it was a real science. It's not a science based on opinion. Dr. Karl Popper made the point that psychiatry is really no different from astrology or your horoscope. Okay, uh, and it's not science. Now, what Einstein did, E equals MC squared, that's real science. But what the psychiatrist does is not real science, and that's what the FDA has done here. They've used pseudoscience, they've used fake science, and they've used it as if it was real. And that's exactly what's happened here. They've used fake science as if it was real, and the results have been catastrophic. The results have been a disaster, and that's what we're beginning to get into here in this number 11 demand request, whatever you want to call it, in the second citizens petition here of the FDA. And the request is to get rid of, to stop using the term opioid addiction or opioid use disorder. They're misleading. They're a lie. They're a fairy tale. Stop using them. Okay, don't use them. And specifically, we don't want the FDA to be able to use them to grant a monopoly to the pharmaceutical companies. That's what the FDA does. They grant monopolies. That's what it does. It grants monopoly. Okay, you give a pharmaceutical company exclusivity to manufacture a specific product. Well, that's a monopoly. Okay, monopolies are dangerous things. Okay, we do use some monopoly, and there's a thing called a natural monopoly, and you can see those. It's a good idea to have one power company, one water company, one gas company. The utilities make sense for a monopoly, but when you're talking about pharmaceutical companies, you got to be very careful. And so the idea was we'd use the FDA to grant these monopolies, but the FDA would do it based upon science, real science, not pseudoscience, not fake science. So that's the recording we tried to get done yesterday. So let's hold here for today. Charles, are we making any sense? Does do the words make any sense?
Yes, sir, they do. They make complete sense to me. I think it's laid out pretty well, and like you say, I mean, everything is laid out one after another like it should be, and with everything to back it up. So, yeah, I mean, I just, I hope they get, I don't understand why they aren't acting now.
Money.
Oh,
Money. They
yeah,
got a monopoly, Charles. They're making money.
yeah.
Okay, they're making these pharmaceutical companies are making $1 to $2 million a day. When you're making that kind of money, you don't want to change anything. Charles, did
Well,
anybody ever
I
label you an
mean,
opioid addict?
you would think that, I mean, if they all switched to making buprenorphine, they could still make money. But
Money,
anyways,
money.
I'm just, I'm one of the people like you. I'm angry.
Charles, did anybody ever label you or call you an opioid addict?
Oh yeah.
Were you diagnosed as an opioid addict?
Uh, yeah, I guess so.
Does it make you angry that the diagnosis was wrong?
Oh yeah, I knew it was wrong
Yeah, I think that
because I
what,
knew
Charles,
the
what
reason
you
I
just
knew is
said.
because I'm sorry. The reason I knew is because I could feel the physical effects of it.
Yeah, I think you just hit the nail on the head, Charles. And this is why we like to have you follow up and close out our podcast every day, because you've been through it, and I haven't, and we want to be sincere. We want to be the real thing here.
Yeah,
Okay, and I've
exactly.
never been through withdrawal, and you have. And what I just heard you say was you knew this wasn't something mental. You knew this wasn't something in your head. You knew this was something.
Not only I thought it might be partially, but I wasn't sure. I'm not a scientist. I'm anything like that. So I just kind of went along with it, but I knew there was another component to it that somebody wasn't addressing.
And you were right. Let's hold right here, and then Charles, if it's okay, we're going to turn around and now do today's podcast because we just did yesterday's podcast. And remember,
Oh,
everybody, like and subscribe to us, and post us on your social media, and put us on everybody else's social media. And we're going to end this podcast, and then Charles, you and I are going to drop off. Alex is going to start the new podcast, and we're going to sign right back on.
okay.
All right, bye.